From Ghetto to the White House? The untold story they tried to bury. Wagwan, family. Welcome back to the channel, where we bring you real, raw, and redemption-filled Caribbean stories that inspire and transform. Today's story is like no other. A scandalous beginning, a spiritual breakthrough, and a seat at the most powerful table in the world. This is the journey of a girl from Waterhouse, Jamaica, who, against all odds, became the First Lady of the United States. Grab your tea and tissues, because this one is deep. Low dancehall bass in background, faint dog barking, rain on zinc roof Waterhouse. A place where dreams either grow teeth or rot in the heat. The kind of Kingston neighborhood where people don't sleep too sound, they stay half awake listening for gunshots, sirens, or gossip through the zinc fence. Shanice A'mora Reid was born right there, in a one-room board house that leaned slightly to the left, like it was tired of fighting life, too. Her mother, Miss Patsy, gave birth to her during a hurricane, by candlelight, with the midwife catching the baby between contractions and a power cut. Life didn't wait for Shanice to be ready. From the moment she could walk, she was hustling. Selling icicles on hot days. Buy rice on credit from Mr. Chin. Dodging boys older than her with dangerous eyes and promises soaked in sin. She was beautiful. The kind of beauty that made even old men stop and stare. Caramel skin. Almond eyes. Hips like they were sculpted by the Creator himself. But beauty in Waterhouse wasn't a blessing, it was a target. By the time she was 12, men were offering her KFC and cell phone credit just to sit in their car. By 14, she'd already been touched by someone she trusted. But when she told her mother, Miss Patsy just said, "Keep your mouth shut, you want dem fi kill we?" So she stopped speaking in pain. She talked of survival instead. Nighttime street corner, sound of dancehall rhythm blaring from a speaker box. Shanice became a regular on the corner. Winning in mini skirts and mesh tops, earning tips with every tick of her waist. She was the youngest, boldest girl on the block, but never the weakest. She laughed louder than her hurt. She turned trauma into performance. By 15, her name was in every man's mouth and every woman's warning. Stay away from that Reid girl, she's trouble. Trouble? Maybe. But trouble comes when nobody protects you. She got into a relationship with a married teacher from her school. He bought her a BlackBerry Curve and paid for her hair to be done every Friday. She thought it was love. Until his wife came to the gate and beat her with a slipper in front of the whole community. That was the first time she tasted public shame. But it wouldn't be the last. By 16, she had already been with a known Don from Riverton, Biggs. He was 40. She was still in her school uniform. But Biggs made her feel like somebody. Until police gunned him down, and she found out he had 3 other baby mothers in Spanish Town. With each heartbreak, Shanice got colder. Harder. Wilder. At 18, she was standing in a mirror before a party, putting on makeup. She stares at herself, lashes long, lips red, hair laid to perfection. "Dem only see the dolly, not the damage," she whispers to the mirror. That night, she ends up in a hotel room with a businessman from Mandeville. He tells her she's too good to be here. Tells her he'll take her far. By morning, he's gone, but he leaves a ticket on the dresser, to Miami. He said he wanted better for her. That Jamaica was too small for a girl like her. She didn't even think. She didn't tell her mother. She packed 2 bags and left the island with secrets in her belly and a baby growing inside her womb. Some people run from prison bars. Shanice was running from her name. From the stairs. From the scars. She didn't know what awaited her in America, but it had to be better than what Waterhouse had given her. Airport ambience, airplane engines, muffled patois conversations. She stepped off the plane in Miami wearing the tightest jeans she owned and a hoodie 2 sizes too big to hide her growing belly. It was her first time flying, and her ears still rang from the pressure. She didn't even have a return ticket. All she had was a folded piece of paper with a name and address scribbled on it, Cousin Lorna, Little Haiti. But when she arrived, Lorna opened the door and looked her up and down like a stray dog. "You pregnant? Lord Jesus. Me sciatek and no baby mother right now. But me why let you sleep on the floor till you get sorted?" That floor became her home for 8 months. Shanice worked as a cleaner in a strip mall by day and cleaned Lorna's apartment by night in exchange for staying. She walked miles every morning to catch the early bus, stomach cramping, ankle swollen, but she never complained. Some days, she cried into a towel so her baby wouldn't feel her pain. Some nights, she watched other girls her age laughing on Instagram while she soaked her sore feet in a bucket. And every morning, she stared in the mirror and whispered, "God, my shame. But don't forget me. Please, don't forget me." Hospital delivery room. Alarms beeping. Nurses rushing. She gave birth alone in Jackson Memorial Hospital, no partner, no friends, no baby shower. Just a nurse who held her hand and told her to push like her life depended on it. It did. When her daughter came out, she didn't cry at first. Panic filled the room. Then, finally, a whimper. She named her Avielle Hope. Because despite everything, she still believed in hope. Weeks later, scene shifts to Shanice pushing a stroller down a cracked sidewalk in Miami. She saw a little storefront church. Paint chipping, faded cross above the door. Something tugged at her spirit. The sign out front read, "Come ASUR." She hesitated. Her hair wasn't done. She had no money. She smelled like sweat and baby formula. But she walked in anyway. Inside, a group of elderly women was singing a Spanish hymn with tears in their eyes. A woman preaching in Spanglish looked up, locked eyes with Shanice, and pointed directly at her. "You. Yes, you. God says you are not trash. You are chosen. You are not your shame. You will walk among kings. He will make you a first lady." The entire congregation turned. Shanice nearly turned around to leave. "Me?" she whispered, almost laughing. "Me a guh walk among king? Me? De same girl who barely has pampers fi my pick me?" But she stayed. That night, she bawled out every sin, every scar, every shame on the altar. Mascara running, knees on cold tiles, baby sleeping in the stroller beside her. That night, something shifted. That was the beginning of her becoming. She didn't know it yet, but heaven had just rewritten her story. What began as an escape from shame was now a divine setup for purpose. Because when God calls you, not even your past can disqualify your destiny. Gospel instrumental building slowly, "Take Me to the King" style. Miami sun beat down on the concrete, but Shanice's spirit burned hotter. She had just finished her shift scrubbing floors at the local community college, her back soaked in sweat, baby Avielle strapped to her chest in a sling, both of them smelling like bleach and borrowed faith. She looked around at the students, young, free, dressed in clean clothes, heads buried in books. One day, she whispered to herself, "My nah go just mop here. Me go sit down inside one of dem classroom ya." That night, she Googled, "How to go back to school if you drop out in Jamaica." The process was confusing. GED? FAFSA? Credits? She barely understood the terms. But one thing she did understand was hustle. She had it in her blood, and God was now in her corner. Shanice is in night school, holding a textbook with highlighted pages, Avielle sleeping beside her in a stroller. She was the oldest person in the class. The only one with a child. The only one who brought her own Lysol wipes to clean the desk before sitting. Some nights, her eyes would close during lessons, her body exhausted. But every time she wanted to quit, she heard the preacher's voice echo in her memory, "You are chosen. You will walk among kings." And so she pressed on. She took the bus. Studied flashcards while breastfeeding. Listened to audio lectures while washing dishes. She failed the GED math portion twice, but passed it the third time with tears streaming down her face at the testing center. 2 years later, scene. Community college graduation ceremony. Shanice in a $15 thrifted dress, baby in her lap, tears in her eyes. Her name was called, Shanice A'mora Reid. Nobody clapped louder than her daughter. After the ceremony, her old supervisor from the cleaning job pulled her aside. "You've got something special, Shanice. Real special. I want to help you apply to university. Have you ever thought about Georgetown?" "Georgetown," she scoffed. "That school na mek fi girl like me." But the supervisor smiled. "If God already brought you this far, who are you to doubt where he'll take you next?" Shanice is on a laptop applying to Georgetown at midnight. She poured her soul into the essay. Topic: Tell us about a time you overcame adversity. She told them everything. About Waterhouse. About her daughter. About her shame, her faith, her mop bucket, and her dream. She hit submit and didn't tell a soul. 3 months later, Shanice opens a letter. Her hands tremble. "Dear Miss Reid, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted." She collapsed on the kitchen floor and screamed so loud that the neighbors knocked on the door. She didn't care. She was going to Georgetown University. Shifts to first day on campus, Shanice in a crisp white blouse, braided hair, head held high, Avielle in a Georgetown kid's hoodie. People stared. She wasn't like the others. Her accent was strong. Her clothes were simple. But her mind? Razor sharp. She majored in political science. She was determined to understand the system that once made her feel invisible. She joined prayer groups, volunteered at shelters, tutored struggling ESL students, and ran a campaign on campus to promote immigration reform and housing aid for single mothers. Professors noticed her. Local newspapers wrote about her. One day after a student-led rally, a tall, clean-cut senator's son approached her. "You're Shanice Reid, right? That speech you gave was powerful." "Thank you," she replied, her accent unapologetically Jamaican. "I'm Jonathan Wright. My father is Senator Wright from Massachusetts." "Oh, big man tings," she joked. They both laughed. That was the first conversation that would eventually change her life. She came from nothing. Scrubbed toilets with a baby on her back. But what the world threw away, God lifted up. Shanice wasn't just getting educated, she was getting elevated. And the world was about to witness what grace plus grind can truly do. It started with a photo. A grainy, stolen photo of Shanice walking out of a church gala hand in hand with Jonathan Wright, the senator's son, now a rising congressional star. The headlines the next morning? "Golden Boy Jonathan Wright spotted with unknown Jamaican immigrant, who is she?" Then, in bold red, "Scandal rocks the Capitol?" Shanice didn't even see the newspaper. She heard it on the bus ride to campus when a woman whispered, "Hey dat the Jamaican girl? Me see har face pon de news. D1 from Waterhouse dem say used to dance pon table." She froze. Heart racing. Palm sweating. It had begun. Dormitory common room, TV news segment playing. "We've obtained exclusive footage from Kingston, Jamaica, ZXCB&T showing a much younger Shanice Reid dancing in a popular downtown nightclub. Sources claim she once had ties to a local gang leader now deceased." Shanice stared at the screen. The clip was old, her at 15, winning in short shorts, drink in hand, laughter masking her pain. They had found her past. Dug it up like a corpse. And now they were crucifying her with it. Jonathan's family estate in Massachusetts, media gathered outside. Senator Wright Sr. slammed the paper down in front of Jonathan. "This is who you want to be seen with? A Jamaican baby mother with a criminal record tied to a dead Don? Do you want to end your political career before it begins?" Jonathan stood firm. "She's not her past, Dad. She's brilliant. Faithful. A survivor. She's not just the woman I love, she's the future I want." But his father didn't back down. And neither did the media. Shanice is receiving hate messages online. "Ghetto trash. Go back to Jamaica. America doesn't need a White House whore. Avielle should be taken from you." Her inbox flooded. Strangers are slandering her. Old friends back home are selling stories to tabloids. Even her old cousin in Florida leaked photos for a quick $500. And then the bombshell hit. A blog released an alleged paternity test showing Biggs, the late Jamaican Don, as AVL's father. They painted Shanice as a Don baby mother, linking her to crime, drugs, and corruption. Sponsors pulled from Jonathan's campaign. Professors distanced themselves. Parents at AVL's school started side-eyeing her daughter. Shanice is in her bedroom, blinds drawn, phone off, Bible open, face swollen from crying. She fell to the floor. God, me saya take no more. Me try. Me change. My walk is righteous. Me left my old life behind, so why me still suffer like this? Silence. Then, something inside her stirred. A whisper from deep within, you are not who they say you are. You are who I called you to be. She got up. Washed her face. Put on her church dress. Took Aviel by the hand. And walked to the same church where it all began. Small church pulpit, crowd gathered, cameras outside, church packed with both supporters and skeptics. She stood before them and spoke, not like a victim, but like a woman reborn. Yes, me come from the ghetto. Yes, my dance. Yes, me make mistakes. But me also make progress. Me pick up my cross and me follow God. And if you think me shame ago mek me run, you're wrong. Because me serves a God who lifts the fallen and seats them among kings. The crowd stood. Tears. Amens. Applause. She didn't hide anymore. She owned her truth. Emotional gospel instrumental fades and she didn't run from the scandal. She walked through it. Head high. Eyes forward. Because when you know who you are in God, no weapon, no gossip, no screenshot, no secret, can stop what heaven has already anointed. It was the most controversial wedding in American political history. Not because of the groom. Jonathan Wright III, clean-cut, all-American golden boy, heir to a political dynasty. But because of the bride. Shanice A'mora Reid. The Jamaican girl, once called ghetto trash, is now walking up the aisle in a custom off-white gown, dreadlocks crowned with Jamaican gold, a Bible in her hand instead of a bouquet. She didn't walk in shame, she walked in victory. The crowd stands in silence as Shanice enters the cathedral. Gasps ripple through the room. The media had predicted she would bow out, that the pressure would break her, that Jonathan would cave to family or public scrutiny. But love doesn't bow to pressure. And grace doesn't cancel based on public opinion. As Shanice walked, her daughter Aviel led the way as flower girl, dropping petals with pride in every step. Sitting in the front row, senators, celebrities, critics, all watching the girl they tried to erase now become the most powerful woman in the country. Vows are being exchanged. Jonathan speaks first. Shanice, you taught me courage, grace, and faith. When the world tried to label you, you showed them who you really are, God's masterpiece. I am honored to walk beside you for the rest of my life. Shanice holds his hand, voice trembling but steady. Jonathan. I never dreamed a seat like this was meant for a girl like me. But God. God dreams bigger than we can imagine. I promise to love you, honor you, and continue standing for the broken girls who think their past disqualifies their future. You didn't just marry a woman. You married a movement. Reception inside the White House, full Caribbean elegance. Yes, you heard that right, the White House. They didn't just get married in a church. They held the reception in the East Room of the White House itself, because Jonathan had just been elected President of the United States. Shanice, now First Lady Shanice Wright, made sure the night reflected her roots. Jerk chicken and escovitch fish on fine china, coconut drops and guisadas for dessert, a steel band playing Redemption Song as the couple shared their first dance, and a prayer circle led by the same fiery preacher from the storefront church in Little Haiti. Press conference weeks later, First Lady Shanice addressing the nation. I didn't come from power. I came from survival. I came from single motherhood. I came from betrayal, poverty, shame. But I also came from faith. From grace. And for the purpose. This position is not just a title, it's an assignment. I will use it to speak life over every girl who thinks her story ends in the ghetto. It doesn't. God can take you from a zinc fence to the White House, if you just give him the pieces. Shanice in Haiti after an earthquake, Shanice praying with immigrant mothers, Shanice building a school in Jamaica's inner city, Shanice tucking Avielle in at night with a crown of braids on her head. She didn't forget where she came from. And the world would never forget her again. She started as a girl forgotten. Branded by scandal. Raised in survival. But in the hands of a redeeming God, shame became strength, and rejection became royalty. She wasn't just a first lady. She was the first of her kind. The girl from Waterhouse, who showed the world that grace has no zip code. If you ever feel like your past disqualifies your future, remember this story. God doesn't call the flawless, he calls the faithful. And he's still in the business of taking the broken and placing them in palaces. We live in a time where cancel culture is louder than compassion, and online shame spreads faster than truth. But Shanice's rise from a ghetto girl to first lady proves that every human being deserves a second chance, and that true transformation should be celebrated, not condemned. She was judged for her dancehall past, being a single mother, her accent and her background, but none of those things disqualified her from God's call. In fact, they became part of the testimony that inspired millions. Moral: what the world labels as dirty, God sees as destined. And when he cleans you up, no man can stain your future. Final takeaway for viewers: don't let society trap you in your past. Don't be afraid to rewrite your story with God. Don't underestimate what he can do with a surrendered life. No matter who you are, where you're from, or what you've done, you are not too far gone to be used for greatness. Was this story powerful for you? Leave a comment with Grace to Glory if you believe God can transform any life. Don't forget to like, share this video, and subscribe for more real-life Caribbean stories of faith, fire, and fierce redemption.